Hi everyone, and this is Maggie from Lifespan Developmental Psychology Summer Term course. We are entering in Unit 4 tomorrow, just finishing up Unit 3 today. So your quizzes from Chapter 7 and 8, or is it 6, 7, and 8, will be due tonight. So you should have all those quizzes done this evening, and then getting ready to move into middle childhood tomorrow evening or tomorrow. I'm going to talk to you today about three different topics here. Middle childhood, we're going to cover a little bit of that. And then I want to talk about the developmental report, which is coming up due on June 18th. And then APA style. I know I've had some questions from students about APA style, so I'll go over that just a little bit here today. So middle childhood, we have next week two chapters, chapters 9 and 10 from the HDEV book, covering middle childhood physical and cognitive development and social and emotional development. And then we have one chapter from the case book, middle childhood. I believe it's chapter 6 from middle childhood. And then so that's what you'll have for next week. So only one case will be due. I think I have about maybe 9 or 10 questions on the case, but there's only one case for next week. So you can take a look at that in the under materials, content, and then take a look at let's see, where are we? Unit 4. Here it is, and the cases are here. And the cases, you can download them from here. Here they are, chapters 9 and chapter 10, and then chapter 6 from the case book. And don't forget to, as you're doing your case studies, to make sure you bold the concepts that you use. Your concepts will come from the HDEV book. And a lot of times those are also bolded in the HDEV book, or they're in the side, sidebars or the headings. Those are the concepts that you're looking for. Those are the ones that you want to bold. I want to see that you're using the language from Lifespan Psychology as you are putting together and writing your case studies. You should have a few in-text citations. Here is an example of that. Rathis 2016 is the HDEV book, and then of course Newman, Landry, Meyer, and Lohman 2003, or just Newman et al., which means everyone else 2003, is the blue case study book. So you can use, cite those or other sources that you have, but generally you find most of your information for your cases in the Rathis book. And then here they are, Aisha and the dinosaurs, the bullier and the bullied, talk about bullied, and also look at HDEV page 218. There's a breakout page about bullying, so don't forget that one. And then the basketball player is the last one. So those are the cases that you have for next week. And remember, you only need to do what's indicated here on the case study sheet. So for case 1, Aisha and the dinosaurs, developmental analysis question number 3, contextual analysis question number 2. So that's the only ones that you need to do. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 questions here covering all those cases. So that's what you have for next week. Yeah, bold the concepts, use in-text citations. I think that is good. Also want to let you know, quizzes, I know some have missed the quizzes. I'll reopen those later, maybe next week or the week after for a time. I'll let you know. And if you missed any quizzes, you can do them then. Also talking about quizzes, if you're getting low scores on the quizzes, I highly suggest using the practice quizzes, the study quizzes. They're chunked out so that it is broken up, the chapters broken up into little pieces that you can, as you study. The quizzes are especially, or the practice quizzes are especially good for topics that you're not very familiar with or haven't had much background with will help you. And like I said, those topics are chunked out. So you can take a look at those quizzes, based on the topic headings in the HDEV book and the quizzes. You'll see how those work. But they can be very helpful for you for your studying. Okay, good. So that is it for the middle childhood section. Already next week will be, or the week after next, I should say, will be adolescence. So we're moving along quite quickly. I know it's a lot of information, but you're doing a good job. And take the opportunity to use the journals, to talk about your learning. Not so much facts, but what am I learning here? What can I use? How can I relate it to my own life or my future life? How can I use it in my career? What's difficult for me? What was easy for me? Why? How is it tied in with my previous learning? All of those things kind of helps you when you're reflecting on your learning, helps you kind of gel that learning before moving on to the next stage of development. Okay, excellent. So there you have it, middle childhood. Let's take a look a little bit about APA style. And well, let's look at the developmental report first. You can find that under materials content, unit 4. At the end here, assignment instructions. Click on that. You'll find another link, and this link is actually comes to the materials content course information. There's also the developmental report. The same instructions are there too. So, but you can find it here. And here, let's take a look at it. A bigger one here. You can just load that in. Load it and print it out if you need to. But this is what you need to do for the developmental report. It tells you exactly. For this assignment, you're going to create a 4 to 6 page report. And here are the writing requirements and guidelines. It'll include a cover page, which is APA style. And I'll show you where you can get some samples of that to look at. Basically, what you'll do is interview or observe. Observe in the case of a infant, of course, you can't interview an infant or a toddler. 3 different people at 3 different stages of development. So you might take your brother who's 16, an adolescent. You might take your mother who's 50 in middle adulthood, and you might take your grandma who is 65 in later adulthood. So those are 3 different people, 3 different stages of development. And then you're going to base your interview and observation on information from the text. Okay, so if you're wondering what should I ask them, what am I going to ask these people, take a look at the HDEV book and you'll get some ideas, for example, questions. So your brother, who is an adolescent at 16 years old, you look through the adolescent and find a couple of topics to talk about. One big one is identity, another one is puberty and the different bodily changes, the physical changes of a person in adolescence. Another one is peer relationships and family relationships in school, romantic relationships. Those are all topics that you might talk about with an adolescence, and they're also covered in the HDEV book. And do that for all of the 3 people that you're going to interview. So that's the best place to find your book. HDEV book is the best place to find topics that you might want to talk about. Now, this is actually only a 4 to 6 page report, so you're not going to be able to talk about all of the topics, but you're going to pick out some. And once you talk about the topics that are in the book, you have ties to that information in the book and what information is in the book, and then what the people that you're interviewing say. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to describe the 3 stages of development. You can look at those, of course, in the book. What are they? Adolescent is between this and this age, roughly, and this is what happens during that time. Describe behaviors you observed in the interview material. Take a look at what they say and what they do. Discuss the developmental themes, identity development, relationships, attachment, or whatever it is that you are looking at for each of the participants, using the key terms and concepts from the textbook. and explain the interaction of the developmental process and periods of the human development. So what's happening, that developmental process, which means, how they're moving along, what kind of things are happening to them during that particular stage. And then theories. You want to apply 2 psychological theories to each of the people. So you can see chapter 1 in HDEV lots of theories are posted there. And or you can use the other theories too, the other theories that are within the books. For instance, in adolescence, you might use Erickson's. And in fact, Erickson can fit in all the stages. So you can use one of them as Erickson's stages of development. The other one you might talk about Marcia's identity development. So those are some choices. But you can talk about any of the theories. It doesn't matter. Either the theory that is one of the theories that are in chapter 1 in HDEV, those are the major theories, and or you can use individual theories that you find within the chapters. And there are a lot of theories. Keep in mind too, theories also are called models. They're called approaches. So there's different ways of different words that psychologists use when they mean theories. Okay, so explain why the theories fit with each participant. So that'll be up to you to decide how does that theory fit. And then you'll analyze, what you have. You'll have all this interview information. You'll have information from the book, information from the research that you've done, and you'll say, okay, what does this all mean? Is what you saw and what you heard consistent, inconsistent with the research that you saw? Why or why not do you think it is? You might want to compare and contrast participants and their stages of development. You could do that too. So you just want to analyze the information that you have. What does it all mean? How does it fit together, and how does it not fit together? Whatever your analysis comes up with. So you want to think about it. Put it all together. And then a conclusion, summarize the important ideas you got, kind of like your reflections. What kind of ideas do you get about development? And describe how you use this information in the future. Can you use it in your job, in your research writing, etc.? And then you'll have a reference list. You use the sources that are required. You have to have 4 sources, 3 scholarly sources that you get from the library, and then the textbook also. And then there's some guidelines. And that brings us to using APA style. I don't expect you to use everything from APA style. APA style has lots of different things, but as a beginning student in a beginning class, all I expect you to use is the very basics of APA style. For instance, the page is double-spaced, 1-inch margins all around, in-text citations, of course. Whenever you use the words and ideas of another, use an in-text citation. And also you want to have references at the end. And a cover page. You don't need an abstract. You don't need an author note or any of those. Those are all more advanced. You'll use those in upper division classes, but here you don't have to. I just want to make sure you're using in-text cites and your paper, looks like a professional academic type paper. And here is let me see if I can find it again. Here it is. Purdue OWL, which is an excellent resource for everything APA. You can find that online by doing a search for it. Here is an APA sample paper. Like I said, you don't have to have these parts like the abstract and the author note. You'll use the information here for the cover page, but that's about it. And your paper will look basically like this, how it is double spaced and how it's set up here is what it should look like. And you don't need a literature review. You can use headings also if you want to use headings for each of the person that you have. You can do that. So that's some information you can use. Purdue OWL, and you can also use the information I posted on D2L. You'll find it under Materials, Content, Course Information, APA Resources. There's some there. You can also use the CAS, the Center for Academic Success at SCTCC. So there are some things that you can use. If you have questions, please send me an email. Thanks a lot for listening. Goodbye.